cold empathy. It is a well-recognized trait of our kind, the narcissists, that we have no emotional empathy. We are devoid of it. Some of our kind, mid-range narcissists, greater narcissists, and the ultra, know how to show this empathy. This is cognitive empathy, fake empathy, or cold empathy. We understand the facial expressions to adopt the tilt of the head, the appropriate body language, such as a hand on the arm or an arm around the shoulders. We have listened carefully, so we understand the phrases to trot out. I'm sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do to help? It must feel terrible. I understand where you are coming from. Believe me, and just tell me how I can help you. I know how you feel. I would feel upset too if this had happened to me. I have watched people like you in action as they exhibit their empathic nature, and I have pulled all of this together to gather a few choice phrases. Put all of this together, and our kind is able to exhibit a convincing display of cognitive empathy that will fool many people. The effectiveness, of course, varies dependent upon the type of narcissist you are dealing with. Graters and the ultra are the most effective at getting you to believe that there is that empathy there, when all you are seeing is cold empathy. You will see this cold, fake, cognitive empathy exhibited during seduction, when we want to show you how we are an apparently kind, caring and sympathetic person, so that you will feel drawn to us all the more. We are aware the correct recipients of this fake, cold empathy are the sick, the elderly, the stray cat, the homeless, the earthquake victim, the child with distended stomach because he has not eaten for days, the earnest-looking villagers crowded around a newly sunk well, and so on and so forth. Yes, I know all of those who need some empathic reactions, and I'll provide them in front of you, so you're all the more attracted to me, so that I fit in. It is, of course, all for show. I feel nothing. Nothing at all. Not one iota, speck, or scintilla of empathy. Show me a report of some tragedy, and my eyes will glide across the text as I register what has happened. Inside, I feel nothing. There is no response. I do not feel sorry for the people involved in the aftermath of the hurricane. I do not imagine what it must be like for them and how they must feel. Certainly I am intelligent enough to know how they may well feel, but I don't put myself in their shoes. I don't imagine what it must be like for them. I do not feel what it must be like for them. There's no pulling at my heartstrings. There are none. There is no feeling of upset, no feeling of despondency, or even anger at the injustice that they may well have suffered. Of course, as you seek my response from alerting me to this latest disaster, I may well then form a furrowed brow, shake my head, and issue some suitable words to make you think that I care. That is, of course, if I want your positive reaction, whereby you look on approvingly at my supposed compassion. If I no longer seek this positive fuel from you, then I will use it as an opportunity to provoke you. And is usually a good starting point for drawing a reaction from an empathic individual to something terrible that has occurred. What do you mean? These people are homeless and injured. They live on a small island and have no power and no clean water. What do you expect me to do about it? They shouldn't have chosen to live there. "What? Do you really mean that?" comes the response. "Yes, it's their choice. They have to deal with it." This will invariably result in a stunned silence or protestations, the provision of fuel, and it entertains me to see the empathic individual try to even convince me that I shouldn't be so heartless. With each attempt, they try to persuade me that I am wrong for adopting such a position, which of course challenges me as they provide me with the fuel. I revel in telling them that they're wrong, and continuing to be dismissive, cold, and heartless. It is actually rather enjoyable not to have to act for a period of time, to actually give that person a glimpse of the emptiness that resides within, the barren wasteland of nothingness, because there is no emotional empathy, to let you see the cold-heartedness that truly exists, the complete absence of empathy. Rather than look upon this and really wonder, who is this person? Who am I with? Driven by your emotional thinking, you are caused to try and convince us to the otherwise, because you think that there is goodness within us. You think, notwithstanding this accurate representation of what we are, devoid of emotional empathy, that somehow goodness resides within. And your emotional thinking takes hold of your traits of caring, your empathic trait of compassion, of decency, takes hold of that strong moral compass to cause you to try and get us to acknowledge that this is such a shame and that something ought to be done. The fact is, I feel nothing. If I see a charity appeal on television, I am unmoved. I have nothing in common with the people who are requesting help. I cannot identify with how they must feel in any way. Certainly, I can intellectualize it if I chose to do it for my own purposes, but sometimes there is no need to, because we have nothing together. There is no connection. The situation is different with those who I interact with, and especially those who are an intimate partner when I am devaluing. If you're ill and wanting some support, and those three dreaded words, tender loving care, appear, I don't feel nothing. I feel an overwhelming sense of disgust and revulsion. How come I have coupled with someone so pathetic and weak? Why did I agree to live with someone who is sneezing and coughing and rasping, spreading their disgusting disease towards me? They're trying to infect me, aren't they? Trying to bring me down to their level. I know what their plan is, and I will not be duped. There is no empathy. And I will not even fake it on this occasion. They can receive the coldness. I see no reason why I should waste my time and energy dealing with somebody like this. It's a drain on my resources. And, in such circumstances, it is better to provoke, better to get away from such weakness, such illness, and such disgusting infirmity. I escape it, and then it disappears. There is no call on me, no desire for assistance or support that threatens my control. Invariably, our kind will then disappear with an excuse, or often without it, in order to avoid such an horrific scene. When you are upset, perhaps over a bad day at work or an argument with a friend, and you tearfully explain what's troubling you, expect to be met with a shrug. What do you expect me to do about it? Your tears are fuel for someone else, not me. It's your problem, not mine. You're in devaluation now. That veneer of concern and compassion that I generated during the golden period, that's gone now. I've roped you in. You're under my control. I don't need to do that any longer, so I won't, because there is no emotional empathy for you. It's your problem. Sort it out yourself. If you persist in pleading with me to listen to help you, I become irritated at you commandeering my time in this manner. Don't you realise I have much to do myself? I cannot forego my own machinations and fuel gathering to play agony aunt to your whinging and whining. Your pathetic concerns annoy me, and you can expect me to berate you in order to further your misery, so I at least draw some negative fuel from your upset. That way, the situation is not one which will be completely written off. If your upset is even greater following the loss of your job or a bereavement, We will show no regard for your feelings, and indeed exploit your misery during the devaluation of you. We will take this opportunity when you are vulnerable to extract further fuel. This is what matters to us: the control over you and the need for fuel. There is no compassion, there is no warmth towards you, and indeed your selfishness in concentrating on yourself when you should be attending to us infuriates us. We will suggest that you never bothered much with that family member when they were alive, so why are you now getting so upset when they've passed away? You cry about your sacking and we suggest you deserved it because you weren't working hard enough, or you hated working there anyway. What are you getting so worked up about? We will shift it onto us by provoking you, so that we extract that negative fuel from your tears, your hurt, your frustration, your anger, and once that has been obtained, and we have control over you, we will leave you to your misery. We've got what we want, and there are other things, notably other people, we can better spend our time with, rather than remaining with you and being subjected to your self-centered pity. We know that you find such an approach heartless and abhorrent, but there is no hope for anything else. There is just the coldness of our lack of empathy. We do not feel compassion or sympathy. There is now no longer any need for us to fake it, because we are drawing the negative fuel of your sustained devaluation. This is what we are. This is the cold empathy that you will always receive from us whenever you have a moment of need, upset, or anguish. Deal with it.